Welcome back, everybody. Mark here again with ExoticCar PlayPlace. Today we are sitting in the 28i X1 BMW, and if you watched the last video, I did a review on this car, overall specifications and such. Today's video, I'm going to give you the top 5 things that I love about this car, and be sure to follow up. My next video will be the top 5 things I don't like about this car. So make sure you check both those videos, check all my videos, and please make sure you come back and don't forget to subscribe. So number one, first thing I love about this new X1, this 2018 BMW X1 with the 28i xDrive, is the interface, and the whole iDrive system in general is much better than previous generations. And I know if you've seen some of my other videos, you know I have an X5, I also have an E60 M5, and because of that, I have some of the older generation options, and I have the older generation iDrive systems on those cars. This one here is vastly better, and I'll give you one of the things that I really like about it. Really like are the driving displays that you can get out of this. And one of them, of course, is the sports display. Specifically is the one that I really like. And I'm going to show you that sports display. It gives you the full deal in terms of horsepower and foot-pound torque output, and it gives you on the fly, so as you're accelerating, you're able to monitor the type of output that your car is producing. So as you accelerate, you can see the torque and the horsepower building. So here, and it actually has a drag on, tells you where you maxed out. But as you accelerate, you can see I love that sport display. Another thing I love about this X1 happens to be the panoramic sunroof. I'll show you that here. What you got to realize is a lot of vehicles in this price point do not have these extras, things like the panoramic. Some of them will have sunroofs and some of them won't, but this one has a full-on panoramic sunroof, which gives you lots of light, and you know what, not just for the driver and the passenger, but it gives you lots of light for the people in the back. So let's close that back up. The other thing I like is that if this is the kind of car that you're looking for, and it happens to be a BMW, but you don't necessarily want to break the bank in terms of fuel economy and the kind of the economical side of this vehicle, you're able to dial in economical settings. You can drive this car in a more economical fashion. But why? Because you have a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine that produces a significant amount of horsepower, but it does it with a smaller engine. This happens to be the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, and it gets great fuel economy. So it gets, as I mentioned in my last video, 10 liters per 100 kilometers in the city and 7 liters per 100 kilometers in the highway. And 10 is roughly close to 30 miles per gallon. 7 is closer to 40 miles per gallon. So those are great numbers. I'm just giving you an approximation, but the point I'm trying to make is the fuel economy is the third thing I love immensely about this. It actually outputs decent power. This is not an M5 replacement, but if you want a decent daily driver that can fight the bad weather, gives you some comfort, has some of the features to it, this is a great mid-level vehicle that doesn't feel low scale. It feels actually like it's got an upscale feel to it, but you can also have the fuel economy that goes with that. So the fourth thing I like about this car, and one thing you have to remember is in a vehicle, this isn't really what you'd normally consider a high performance car per se. And you know, because of that, often this segment produces cars that are very bland often. You know, you can often even compare it almost to the Toyota RAV4s and stuff like that. But a lot of the vehicles that are kind of almost the subcompact, the mini SUVs as it were, like you'd find here in the X1, often have everything else is scaled down. And a lot of that are seats, for example. But that's what I love about this car. When I look at the seats here, they actually have a lot of bolstering here. And this car makes it very sporty. And as I mentioned before, the sporting appeal of the car is certainly there. These bolsters actually keep you in place very nicely. It keeps you hugged in there when you're kind of turning hard through the corners. It actually keeps you sucked in very nice. And I love these seats. They feel like there's something that belongs almost in an M3. they're comfortable at the bottom, but the bolstering on the sides is enough to keep you locked in for relatively sporty driving. It's not your mainstream everyday ho-hum cars. It actually provides some nice bolster support. And of course, the fifth thing that I love about this car, and it typically goes hand in hand with most BMWs that I've driven, and that is the sheer quality, the feel of the car. Now we know this is the base model. The X1 is the low-end model of the series of the X models in the BMW world. But that doesn't mean they totally skimp out. And BMW still does a great job of providing high-quality materials like you find on the dashboard here. This really nice soft touch textured material that is, gives you a nice sense of quality. It's very solid too. You also have this beautiful high gloss, nice finish, almost sort of a piano gloss look here as accents. Beautiful touch on there. Every button and control feels of high quality. The buttons are small, but they feel nicely put together. The soft touch rubber makes it feel actually very high quality. As well, we talk about the seats. The seats, we have leather interior. We have this leather touches here with stitching around as accent. The overall look is a very high quality. And that's one thing, getting in an X1, being that it's the low-end model, you would almost expect low-end finishing. But you don't have low-end finishing. You actually have something that feels like of reasonable quality even for a BMW. You don't feel like you've given up a lot of that. And that's what makes you feel good about driving this car. You don't feel like, 2 years later, the thing's gonna feel like a piece of garbage. This car feels like it's well put together, it's tight, and all the finishing looks of very high quality. So everybody, I hope you enjoyed that video. I wanted to give you the 5 things that I love about the X1 2.i xDrive SUV that I'm driving today, finished in a beautiful Mediterranean blue. Everyone, if you liked the video, please make sure you give me a share, like, comment for sure at the bottom, and more importantly, check out my other videos, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. There's going to be many more great videos, as well as more videos on this X1. I'm going to talk about the review if you've seen that video already. If not, check out the things that I don't like about this car, and that will be following this video. So please make sure you come back again. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.